Welcome back to the deep dive. If you own any physical precious metals, maybe it's just a small collection, or, maybe it's the core of your wealth protection strategy, you really need to stop and listen carefully.
Yeah, this is important.
Today, we're taking your stack, that wealth you hold outside the system, and we're giving it a full forensic audit.
And there's a good reason for it. Right now, the market is facing, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, an existential threat from unbelievably sophisticated counterfeits.
It's not an exaggeration at all. Our mission today is to arm you with 3 simple, physics-based tools to guarantee your assets are real.
Because the threat is real. Our sources confirm the market is being absolutely flooded with what they call super fakes.
And these aren't the sloppy counterfeits from 10 years ago.
No, not at all. These are precision-engineered deceptions.
Yeah.
And the stakes are, they're incredibly high.
I think we have to start with that anecdote, the story of the $30,000 mistake. It stopped me cold when I first read it.
It's the perfect cautionary tale. So picture this. A collector, 5 years ago, buys a monster box of silver eagles.
Probably online, right? Like on eBay or somewhere similar.
Almost certainly. He pays about $10,000 for it, puts it in his safe, forgets about it.
And in the meantime, silver prices go up a lot. So he finally decides, okay, it's time to cash in. He expects to walk out of a dealer with $30,000.
And the coins, they look perfect. I mean, the stamp is crisp, they have the right shine, the color is spot on. Everything looks legit.
But the dealer, maybe he's got a hunch, something just feels a little off after years of handling this stuff. So he runs the stack through a specialized testing machine.
And that's when the floor drops out. The machine reveals the coins are basically copper.
Just copper.
Well, copper plated with about 2 microns of actual silver. Just enough to look right. And maybe even fool a basic chemical test.
So his $30,000 asset was actually worth what?
About $500, the value of the copper.
Wow. So he didn't just lose a couple of bucks on a premium. He lost $9,500 of his original investment.
That's the real danger. And it highlights the incentive here. As silver hits higher prices, let's say $80 an ounce, for example.
Right, a big psychological number.
Exactly. The profit margins for these counterfeiting operations become irresistible. The sophistication of the fraud goes up right alongside the price of the metal.
So if you don't know these forensic tests we're about to cover, you aren't really an investor.
You're just a mark.
Okay, so let's put on the lab coat. Let's unpack how sophisticated this threat has become.
It's way deeper than just plating some copper.
Right. So fakes used to be pretty easy to spot. You could just feel it. They were too light.
The density was always off. That was the one thing they couldn't get right. But that has all changed. And the reason it changed for gold was one specific metal. Tungsten.
Tungsten, okay.
Scammers figured out that the key to a good fake is matching the specific gravity, the density. Gold is incredibly dense.
Heavier than lead.
Much heavier. And they found tungsten, a cheap industrial metal, has a density that is almost identical to gold. So they could make a tungsten bar, plate it with gold, and it would weigh perfectly.
Okay, so if tungsten is the perfect fake for gold, why is the silver problem different? They're not using tungsten for silver fakes.
That's a great question. No, they're not. Silver is actually much less dense than gold or tungsten. So for silver, the threat comes from specific and pretty sophisticated alloys.
Alloys?
Yeah, mixtures of cheap industrial metals, mostly lead and zinc. They figured out the exact recipe to create an alloy that perfectly mimics the weight of silver for a given size.
So you've got bars and coins that look perfect, and they weigh perfect. The scale says 10.00 ounces on the dot, and if you measure them with a caliper, the dimensions are perfect. The average buyer is totally exposed.
That's the whole deception. The dumb money trusts the stamp and the scale.
Whereas the smart money...
The smart money knows that physics cannot be cheated. They can mimic density, sure, but they cannot mimic all of silver's unique physical properties at the same time.
And that's where our forensic toolkit comes in. We're going to the kitchen table to audit our own wealth, starting with test number 1, the magnet.
This uses a concept called diamagnetism.
So for this, you'll need, what, like a $10 magnet?
Yeah, you need to get a powerful one, a neodymium or rare earth magnet. This whole test relies on one of silver's most unique properties.
Okay, so let's be clear on the science here, because diamagnetism sounds a little academic. We all know silver isn't magnetic, right? A silver coin won't stick to your fridge.
Right, but it does something else. It fights back against a magnetic field. When you move a powerful magnet near pure silver, the silver generates its own opposing electrical current.
They're called eddy currents, right?
Exactly. And those currents create a tiny temporary magnetic field of their own that pushes back, that repels the magnet you're holding. It's like a physical self-defense mechanism.
So how do we actually see this fight happening?
With the slide test. This is definitive. You take your silver bar, tilt it at a steep angle, maybe 45 degrees.
Okay.
Then you place that powerful magnet at the top and just let it go. Now, a few things can happen. If the magnet sticks solid, it's iron or steel. Obvious fake.
And if it just slides right down really fast?
Like a rock down a hill?
Yeah.
That means it's a base metal like copper or lead. Also fake.
But if it's real silver?
This is where the magic happens. If it's real silver, the magnet doesn't stick, but it also doesn't just fall. It slides down slowly. Impossibly slowly. It glides like it's moving through invisible honey.
That's the drag. That's the eddy currents fighting back.
That is the visible proof of the element's unique electrical resistance. That drag is silver's fingerprint. It's an amazing visual confirmation.
Okay, fantastic. Let's move to test number 2, resonance, the ping test. This one is especially good for coins.
This is all about silver's atomic structure. It's the most acoustically resonant metal there is. It just loves to sing.
Whereas cheap metals are just dull.
They absorb the vibration instantly. They go thud.
So the test is simple. You balance a coin on your fingertip.
So the edges are free to vibrate.
Right. And you gently tap it with something like a wooden stick or even another coin. A fake coin made of copper or zinc, it just makes a flat clink. The sound dies instantly.
But real silver.
Yeah.
It produces this high-pitched, sustained ring. A beautiful, clear tone that just keeps going, like a little crystal bell.
Okay, but I'm going to be skeptical here for a second. I don't really have a trained ear for metallurgy. How do I know if the ring is good enough? Couldn't purity affect the sound?
That's a totally fair point. And 5 years ago, it would have been a problem. But now, you don't need a trained ear.
Because there's an app for that.
There is literally an app for that. You can download free phone apps. One of the sources mentioned Precious Coin Tester, for example.
And what does it do?
It uses your phone's microphone to listen to the sound's frequency profile. You tap the coin, hold the phone near it.
And the app analyzes the sound wave.
Precisely. It analyzes the frequency, the decay rate, the specific overtones that are unique to, say, a 99.9% pure silver American Eagle coin. And it gives you an instant verdict. Genuine or frequency mismatch, BAD.
That's genius. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
You're using basic physics plus modern computing power. No doubt left.
Okay, so we've got magnetic and acoustic verification. Now for my absolute favorite, test number 3, the one that looks like actual magic, the ice test.
This one leverages silver's most dramatic property of all, its thermal conductivity.
And it's worth saying again, silver is the most thermally conductive metal in the universe. It moves heat faster than anything.
It's like a superhighway for thermal energy. If you touch something cold to it, the cold gets sucked out instantly. Touch something hot, the heat is pulled away just as fast.
Okay, so you go to your freezer, you grab an ice cube, you place it on your room temperature silver bar. What are you watching for?
You're watching for a violent reaction? I mean it. If the metal is real silver, it will start melting that ice instantly and dramatically.
It honestly looks like you just dropped the ice cube on a hot frying pan.
That's the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Even though the silver is just at room temperature, it's pushing that ambient heat into the ice so fast that the ice just sizzles and turns into a puddle in seconds.
The first time you see it, it is genuinely shocking.
And that's a reaction that base metals just can't replicate. You put that same ice cube on a steel bar or one of those fake lead zinc alloys.
It just sits there. It melts slowly, from the air around it.
Exactly. As the sources say, if the ice doesn't scream, the silver isn't real. It's an immediate, undeniable physical confirmation.
Incredible. So now we have 3 definitive tests: magnetic, acoustic, and thermal. We have the toolkit. But what does this mean for how we actually buy this stuff?
Well, the tests are crucial for due diligence. But we have to emphasize the source of the metal matters most. Chain of custody is better than testing alone.
You have to audit your dealer as much as you audit your metal.
100%. Which brings us to rule number 1.
Stop buying on peer-to-peer marketplaces. Just stop. eBay, Craigslist, get off them for precious metals.
Absolutely. Those deals you see that are just a little bit below the market premium, they are too good to be true because they are fake. That's the trap.
People get drawn in because they think they're saving, what, $2 on the premium?
Right. And they're risking losing the entire $30 or $40 principal investment to save those $2. The math is insane.
You're taking on catastrophic risk for a tiny, tiny discount.
And the counterfeiters know that. Their entire business model is based on that bargain hunter psychology.
So rule number 2, Stick to reputable dealers, but even then, you have to verify your dealer.
Yes, because even a good dealer can be fooled by these super fakes unknowingly. So walk into their shop, ask them to test the metal you're about to buy, right there in front of you.
On one of their professional machines, like a Sigma verifier?
Exactly. Or an XRF scanner. These are the machines that can read the metal's composition all the way through to the core, past any plating.
And what's the reaction you're looking for from the dealer?
If you ask a legitimate dealer to test the product, and they refuse, or they get defensive and offended,
That's a huge red flag.
it's the biggest red flag you can get. A real dealer will be happy to prove their product is authentic. They want your trust. A scammer will get angry. Their reaction is your verification.
So the final directive is simple. Trust but verify. Even if you're buying from a major mint, spot check your delivery. Use your magnet, use the app, use an ice cube.
Your stack is your insurance policy. You have to make sure that policy isn't printed on counterfeit paper.
So we've covered the forensics, the playbook, but if we zoom out, this whole issue raises a really big structural question for the entire physical market.
Yeah, the implications are fascinating. We've established that as the price goes up, the incentive to counterfeit goes up, so the number of fakes flooding the market goes up.
So let's run a thought experiment. Let's say silver hits $100 an ounce. Do the super fakes become so common that they could actually destroy trust in the physical market itself?
That is the core threat.
No.
If the volume of fakes hits a critical mass, you could see the premium for physical metal collapse, because the risk of getting a fake is just too high for big players.
The cost of verification becomes a penalty. A major fund isn't going to buy a 1,000-ounce bar if they have to spend a fortune drilling into it to make sure it's real.
Exactly. The whole market is built on the assumption that a stamped bar is what it says it is. If that assumption gets broken on a wide scale, then the whole advantage of holding a physical, easily tradable asset starts to erode.
It puts a massive burden on every single person who owns it. Your diligence becomes essential not just for you, but for the health of the whole market.
So we've armed you with that toolkit. The physics of diamagnetism, the resonance of the ping, the thermal conductivity of the ice test.
The time to verify your stack is right now.
And before we go, we'll leave you with a final thought and ethical dilemma to consider. Let's say you do these tests, and you discover a coin you bought years ago, or maybe one you inherited, is fake. It's just a plated piece of zinc.
What's your obligation? Do you destroy it and take the loss? Or do you try to sell it to someone else and pass the trash, making it their catastrophic $30,000 mistake?
That's a powerful question. What does integrity mean when your own wealth is on the line? Something to think about until our next deep dive.